glad you're here today. Go ahead and start with check-in. Sure, yours are over here today.
Yeah, please.
Nate says Ritter.
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. I am Robert Living. I am well. Missing is that we have Dr. Hurst, who will not be here tonight. Who next to you there? Yeah, he's still in the board workshop, so he's here. Yeah. I have no time constraints. I have no elements. Expectation is to get close to finishing this target. Yeah.
Test.
Yeah, no, I turn my
I'm Will Rothenberg. I'm doing well. Missing, I believe, is noted. No time constraints, no elephants. Expectation, orange circles.
Good evening, I'm Heather Leonard. I'm doing well this evening. I think the missing have been noted. I don't have any time constraint outside of our normal closure time. No elephants, and expectation, I'll go with orange circles.
Kelly Letcher, I'm fine. Missing is noted, no time constraints, no elephants. Expectations, I'll go with orange circles.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Hutchins. I'm good. Missing noted, no time constraints, no elephants, and orange circles.
Good evening. My name is Christine Schroed. I'm doing fine. Missing noted, no time constraints other than the 7 o'clock end time. I do not have any elephants, and I'm going to go with orange circles for my expectations.
Good afternoon, my name is Roger Lloyd, I'm doing fine. Missing has been noted. I have no time constraints outside of the 7 o'clock parameters. I have no elephants, and I will go with orange circles as well.
Arbor Cedino, I'm doing well. Missing as noted, no time constraints, no elephants, and expectations orange circles as well. Thank you.
Candy Messenger, I'm doing fine. Missing has been noted. No time constraints, no elephants, and orange circles as well.
Good afternoon, I'm Bonnie McFarland. I'm doing well. Missing has been noted. No time constraints beyond our 7 o'clock ending time. No elephants and orange circles.
Jamie Browder, I am doing well. Missing has been noted, no time constraints, no elephants, and that we're close to finishing this bargaining session.
Good evening, Helen Martin. I'm doing well. Missing has been noted, no time constraints, no elephants, and expectations are close to finishing this bargaining session.
Hi, good evening. I'm Suzette Rivera. I'm doing well. Missing has been noted, no time constraints, no elephants, and my expectations are to continue making orange circles.
Oh, I don't know, so it's funny. Is that all right?
Try it.
How about now?
Right here.
It's on? A.
Hello? All right, I think I'm good now. Good evening, my name's Kerr Fazone. I'm fine, I'm Chief Negotiator for SPALC. I don't believe we have anyone missing on our side. No time constraints, no elephants, expectations. We'll make some progress.
You're live. Just far away.
Good afternoon, Bernie Kemp is my name. I'm the administrator for SPALC. I'm fine. As said, no one missing, Time constraint, none. Elephants, none. Expectation, hope we make progress.
Hi, my name is Amanda Evans, bus operator. I'm doing okay. Time constraint, 6 o'clock, no relevant. Make progress so we can move forward.
Good afternoon again, everybody. My name is Rafael Cruz. I'm doing fine. I'm missing having noted. No time constraints, no elephants. My expectation is to make some progress.
Good afternoon, my name is Penny Bennett. I'm doing fine. No one is missing on our side. My time constraint is 6:30. I have no elephants and my expectations are to make progress.
Good afternoon, my name is Vivian Hawkins. I'm doing fine. Missing is noted, 6:30 time constraint. No elephants and to make progress.
My name is Roger Wilson. I'm doing great. Missing has been noted. No time constraints, no elephants. Make progress.
I'm Tony Abrams. I'm good. Missing has been noted. No time constraints, no elephants. To come to some kind of consensus.
Good evening, my name is Arlise Williams. I am well, missing has been noted. No elephant, time constraint, I guess is 7, and my expectation is to make progress.
Good evening, my name is Ken Neese. Doing well, missing's been noted, no time constraints, no elephants. Expectation is to make progress.
I'm Amy French, doing well. Missing has been noted. I do not have any time constraints, nor do I have any elephants. The expectations are to help you make those orange circles.
Amanda Guzman, I'm also doing well. Missing has been noted. No time constraints or elephants, and I hope to make progress.
All right, so we had our check-in, and the only thing on our agenda today is Article 10 compensation. So, anybody like to open? Go ahead, Kirk.
I have an agenda question just before we get too far down. At SPALC Labor Management last week, we mentioned some language around the release of bargaining unit data for the union, and wanted to know if this was the night to talk about that or if we needed to do that another night.
Kerr, are you talking about the letter that we received? Oh.
No, this was in relation to a past instance on the talc side. ULP was filed. There was a settlement that was reached, and we wanted to put some things, but we being both sides, agreed to put some language in the contract so that SPALC and talc would not, have those barriers to retrieving that bargaining unit data.
We can talk about that. Do you have language prepared? Draft language? No?
I thought that was coming from the district.
Okay. Will and I are looking at each other because I thought you were referring to the letter that came from you regarding the data that I've sent to our legal division, so.
I forgot about that one. Yeah, this was specifically related to the information on our members. Just as an example, some folks have their information waived, and so we can't see them as an employee or as a potential member. Sometimes we don't even get information on our own members if they're waived or have some sort of confidential status. So I think the bargaining unit data language was supposed to correct that. We can punt it to next time. That's fine. I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, I think we don't have the language tonight, so I think Will and I have to put our heads together and respectfully punt.
Yeah, that's fine.
And Christy, go ahead.
Sorry, Christy may be able to help us.
Yeah, I think this is something that we had discussed previously, and including language that allows you access to potential unit members. So instead of dealing with it in the legal arena, we were going to incorporate it into the contract. So yes, that was previously discussed. I don't know, Rob, if you were here yet, but.
I saw an email.
Okay, so that's correct.
Thank you.
Do you want us to note that anywhere in our notes here?
Yeah, that'd be great, and maybe, put a note that we'll revisit this next time. Maybe we can have some proposed language and get a quick consensus around it.
What is the, how do I say that?
SPALC bargaining unit data. Yeah, that should trigger our memories.
All right then. Kurt, any more discussion on that, or we want to go right on to Article 10?
We can move on.
Go right on to Article 10, compensation. Anybody want to start us off? We're gonna have a story, an interest. Do we have those, or do you have those already? You want to tell the story?
Well, I think at one point, there was already an option from SPALC. I don't know if Kurt was here then.
No, I believe
No,
this
it was several meetings ago, yeah.
December, I guess there is an option on the table from SPALC, yes.
We know the date on that, Kurt?
Let me look, give me a second. Yeah, you're right, Rob, January 12th.
Oh, Will's correct, not me. He's got a younger memory than me. And it's his birthday.
Happy birthday, Kurt.
January 12th is his birthday. It was after the presentation done by Jonathan Tuttle.
And you're right, I wasn't here for that session, but if my notes serve me correctly, it was a proposal of a salary increase of $1.96 per employee for everybody in the SPALC bargaining unit.
That's right, yeah.
It's never listed in the minutes.
Do we have the language written in the minutes? Yeah.
I think Kurt could put it back up there if they still want that up there. That's up to them.
Okay, so there was an option. Was that option 4? I think it just was option 4.
Yeah, it says option 4. I don't see any other options on that.
Okay.
That one.
So option 1. Okay, so we have an option on the table, an increase of $1.96 per hour for all SPALC bargaining units. Retro to July 2021. Any discussion?
Yeah, so we talked about this back on that day, I think. I just want to be transparent. The district has a pot of approximately $6.2 million for a 2-year contract. That is essentially 5.12%. That's what it would equal if we did it across the board. That's what 6.2 would be, 5.12%. That's for a 2-year contract. I think the parties have an interest in doing a 2-year contract, because if not, we're going to be right back here in a few months. So we have a proposal. And we want to take care of a couple of bargaining unit areas that are critical to the district. Yes. So one of them would be raising the starting salary for paraprofessionals to $15.25 an hour. The current starting wage for paraprofessionals, unfortunately, is $12.71 an hour. We believe that the interest of retention and recruiting, respect, whatever you want to use, is pertinent here. This is an area where we have suffered greatly for years in the district, but it really is acute now, and that's why we also did the $100 an hour for coverage for paraprofessionals. The other area that we hear loud and clear is for bus drivers, and we would like to increase, is it the market rate one? Or the starting? The market rate for bus drivers to $17.25 an hour.
Separate options?
Sure, you can put them as separate options.
Maybe 17 what?
25. Yeah.
The para is the market rate, I'm sorry, it's not the starting salary, it's the market rate. Thank you, Heather. And I guess our third option is a 3% add across the board to the base salary of all bargaining unit members, effective April 1st, 2022. I said base salary, right? Yeah. But not paid until a date that we agree upon, because it's just way too soon for us to do all of that work between now and April 1st. But it would be retroactive to April 1st. Correct. April 1st.
Can I say that back to you to make sure I didn't miss anything? Sure. So 3% added to the base salary of all SPALC members retro to April 1st, not paid until agreed upon date.
No, if you need to, you shouldn't use the word members. I think it's everybody governed by the SPALC contract, not just their members.
So we have 3 more options to raise the starting paraprofessional salary to the market rate of $15.25 an hour, to increase the market rate for bus drivers to $17.25, or increase the salary to the market rate for bus drivers to $17.25 an hour, and then a 3% add to the base salary of all SPALC bargaining units, retro to April 1st, 2022, but not to be paid until agreed upon date. Any discussion, questions, any corrections?
Just wanted to clarify, the effective date of the bus driver and para market rates would be July 1, 2022. Correct.
Questions, comments? Yes, sir.
Sorry, I'm thinking. I don't really know the best way to say this. I'm worried about the ratifiability of a 3% increase, just based on inflation rates. Gas has gone up 30, 40 cents, it seems like, just in the last week. I got gas for $3.99. My colleagues over here got it for $4.19 today. And I'm not even sure that that increase would cover the increase in the cost of gas. I mean, that's just my first thought. I think I need a few minutes to collect my thoughts, but if anybody else has anything they would like to say, feel free to jump in. Yeah.
Okay. Somebody over here want to comment or something? Hey, anybody on the south side? Somebody got a comment they want to add?
I'm getting repeated calls to caucus, so I think we'll take maybe a 15-minute caucus.
Sure, no problem.
We may need a little more time, I'll let you know.
We'll be here.
Everybody is back? Looks like it. Kurt, do you want to give your caucus report? Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, so just for full transparency, Rob and I were talking about an option that was in one of the past minutes, I believe the past minutes, one of the previous bargaining sessions that talked about a 2.5% increase, across the board. And Rob reminded me that was before you all went back to the board to get more bargaining authority and, move to a 2-year deal. So that was discussed way back in November, it looks like the end of November. But as a part of our caucus, we just spoke about what this would look like, for the average member. I mentioned before we went to caucus that 3% increase, it's not covering the cost of living. For some folks, that would actually be a decrease in salary. I would argue for the majority of folks with the rate at which things are increasing in cost, that's not going to cover inflation. We did a little bit of math. For example, we have a security specialist in the unit that's making $13.61 an hour, and the 3%, that's about 40 cents. And as we mentioned, that we may, gas has already gone up that, it may go up another 40 cents between now and the end of the week. Who knows? When we talk about attracting and retaining, the DOE right now estimated 5,000 vacancies statewide, I believe. And I may just be talking about instructional, or maybe all. They're estimating 9,000 vacancies, at the start of the school year. And I'm really worried that if this is the point at which we settle upon, that a lot of folks just aren't going to come back. I don't know if anybody else has anything on my side that that would like to say anything, but I can pass the mic.
The $15.25 for the payrolls on market rate. I mentioned, I think, this to a couple of payrolls, and they would say that wouldn't put them nowhere. Because right now they're making $12 an hour, and they're bringing home $541 every 2 weeks. Rent has gone up to $13 to $1,400 for a 1-bedroom apartment. This person has a family of 4 kids that's in the public system school, Lee County School, where she has to provide uniforms, and she has to provide books, and she has to provide pencils and papers, and she has to provide all of this stuff. And then if she can't provide it, then we have to provide it. And I don't make that much money, but I give what I can. I contribute my check sometimes too, and I don't make that much. So we really need to really think about what we're doing. You're saying the critical position is paraprofessional? We got people out here that's changing diapers, which they don't, like I said, we love our jobs. We love what we do, or we wouldn't do it. But at the same time, the pressure of the economy is coming down on us. Some kind of way, we got to make these people feel that they're taken care of. I understand the district gets their money from the government or wherever they get it from, but some kind of way, board members who we vote in and people who we trust need to fight for us. Because we're not making it out here. We're not. And our kids that's in the school system that comes every day, that these teachers, oh, you need to bring a backpack, or you need to have this, and you need to have that. We don't have that. And then you got people out in the community, these kids wear out clothes and some of them grow. Some of them get really, really tight. When they start out this short, in the 6 months, they this tall. So they don't grow out of their shoes. I had to go to Ross up there in the foreign. The kid was just finna graduate from from elementary school to go to middle school. They had a graduation where everybody's supposed to dress up nice, right? In 5th grade, going to 6th grade, you dressed your kid up nice and ready to go. He didn't have no shoes. His shoes had a big hole in them. Mom worked for the school district, but couldn't afford to get the shoes. So guess what Miss Hawkins did? I took that $34.99, tax and all came to $35, $36, $37, and went and bought a pair of shoes. He got his certificate to go to 6th grade, and he had on some nice pair of shoes. But that money that I took from out of my pocket was to feed me and my family. Put gas in my car to make it to work, because I have to come from Fort Myers to Lehigh to Sunshine Elementary School. So we got to do better. I mean, this right here is not gonna do anything for the parents. Now, I noticed that back in the day, I think it was when Angela Pruitt was here, she mentioned about giving the parents that have degrees a bonus or some kind of thing for their degree. We never seen that. Other counties, I heard, they give their parents some kind of bonus or send it to when I finished school, I took my degree to the school district, to the human resource. I gave it to the lady. I said, what do I get for this? She said, nothing. The only people that get any money for their degrees is the teachers. I said, oh, okay, no problem. I just asked and wondered. So no, we don't get anything, nothing. But we sit there and read to these kids every day. We sit there and pronounce the alphabet word letters to them to try to get them to read. We don't want to get them interested in reading. We don't want to have to pull them out and test them when they're getting close to testing time. We want to do everything our teachers tell us to do because we love our teachers, we love our principals, and we do what they ask us to do. But we also need to be compensated for that. Anybody else? Rob?
Just for the record, the market rate would increase the starting para pay by $2.54 an hour. And I believe SPALC was asking for a $1.94 raise with that one option. So, $1.96, I'm sorry. So, I don't disagree with anything you just said, however. If we had a gazillion dollars, I would want to give you guys a gazillion dollars. So, we're all living in the same world and are well aware of the plight of many of our employees and residents here. It's very difficult for all of us to try to bargain in the current economic conditions affecting this country. And I'm with you. I paid $4.50 for gas this weekend or something. I mean, so we don't have the money to keep up with what is happening in our world right now. I mean, that's just the bottom line. So we're trying to affect positively everyone in the bargaining unit with $6.2 million. And we're all ears if you have other options, how to distribute that money. And you mentioned something which has been talked about, I think, over time, which is a highest degree supplement. So if you have a degree, you might get a supplement for that. That has, I think, been talked about over the years, never settled upon, never agreed to, but that could be part of something with the $6.2 million. So What we put up there was our option. It would have been great if you all came back and said, thumbs up, we're good. But that's not realistic either. We knew that probably wouldn't happen more than likely. But I think the key is to use our next hour and a half to try to figure something out. And that's what we're here to do.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to jump in front of you.
No, you have to.
Oh, did I? Okay. All right. So I also wanted to ask a question related to bargaining authority. And we've reached out to the superintendent's office, but he hasn't responded yet. On Monday the 28th, Dr. Savage went online and stated, the change in the high school schedule and mentioned that was saving, I believe, roughly $10 million that he wanted to put towards staff salaries. So I'm curious, what portion of that is going to be added to the bargaining authority for the SPALC unit?
Okay.
So just as part of the story, something I think that just needs to be shared is that the options that were just put up, the para increase, the bus driver increase, and the 3%, does exhaust or more or less exhaust our bargaining authority. So to Rob's point, that's what we have to work with is the 6.2, I believe you said. And those options do exhaust that amount. So I thought that was important to share that those three options are equal to the bargaining authority. The other thing that I think is an important part of the story is the bonus, the $1,000 bonus. So for somebody who works full-time year-round, so like a 255 employee, $1,000 bonus is roughly equivalent to a 50-cent an hour raise. And so I think that's another part of the story that we need to make sure we're capturing as we're discussing this. Because even though I understand the difference between bonuses and increases to base salary, that is still a financial to the positive that has been added to salaries as part of the overall bargaining process that we've been involved in. So I didn't want that to get forgotten or lost in the discussion.
So in response to Kerr's inquiry, I don't think you received a response in writing because we're in the middle of bargaining. So I don't think it would be appropriate for the superintendent to respond to those emails in any fashion that might impact what we're doing here. Having said that, it isn't set in stone that the 7-period day is happening. So has that $10 million been realized? No. Is the figure $10 million? I'd have to defer to Kelly for that. And then my understanding, if there's $10 million, that doesn't mean that money is just dedicated to bargaining. It gets put back in the general fund and allocated however budget needs to allocate it. So a bunch of factors. Is that $10 million sitting here for us to say to SPALC, we have an additional $10 million? The answer to that is no.
I would like to ask a question. I would like to know if anybody know the amount of money that was saved in transportation this year for salaries?
To defer to Kelly, but you mean or at least because positions haven't been filled? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
So one of the things we have to remember is even though there's some money in the budget that might have been saved because positions weren't filled, we cannot use them for reoccurring expenditures, and raises are reoccurring expenditures. We assume that the bus drivers will be coming back and then we'll have those costs. So The only way we could say that savings can be used for raises is if we actually cut the positions and no bus operators are hired back into the positions.
Okay, so do we still currently have 800 regular bus operator positions?
There were 729 for the year.
Okay, 729, but we had 800 this year, and they cut the routes down to the 729.
No, but we may have had that many in the previous year and they cut it down and those funds were utilized in other places.
Mr. Lloyd, how many bus drivers did we regular positions did we start off in August?
That's not part of our process where we just
Okay.
have the questions, so if we just have some questions, we can put it out
Okay.
there and it's, you know, so.
Okay, Mr. Dodick, about you was mentioning about the, degrees. So what can what are we, can that be entered in now, a conversation to get started with about compensating the paras with, that have degrees? I mean, it was been thrown out there for so many years and never brought to the table.
Well, I think we can bargain anything we'd like. I would say that the $6.2 million is the $6.2 million. So however SPALC wants to divvy that up, if that includes a highest degree supplement, that could be part of a package. So we're not proposing that at this time because we already made
Your proposal.
our current proposal. That doesn't mean we wouldn't come back with something else, but I think Mr. Rothenberg wants to add some other details regarding that.
I think if the request is, can we take whatever the option was from a couple of years ago and like refresh the numbers and look at that? We can try and bring that back for Thursday and figure out, based on what you're talking about, what we showed 2 years ago, we can figure out how many people now have degrees at those amounts, what would it cost, and try and put that together.
Is that a data request then? So,
Yes.
okay. I think we're gonna put it as cost out degree supplement for our garden. No? I don't know where.
We could do it that way. We could also break it down for paras, because I know she only mentioned paras, but yeah.
Okay. Okay. Kurt?
So I have a question about option 4. If the district has $6.2 million to spend for the 2-year contract, can you give me an estimate as to how much the 3% is of that 6.2 figure?
That's a little over 3.5 million. It's a little over 3.5 million. And that's just for 1 year's cost. That wouldn't include anything that we gave this year. So we talked about starting April 1st. The 3.5 million would be from like July 1st on. So it's a little bit less than what it would be if we made it effective April 1st.
That makes sense. I was really curious how much the 3% cost, because I mean we had a percent figure in our mind, and it was, I mean, it's more than 3%. And I wanted to see how affordable or not it was. I mean, in our caucus, in order to satisfy the interests of the members on the team, I think we were looking around a 10% increase. So that would be, that would actually, it would be less than the $1.96. But it would, you know, it would put more money in people's pockets, and I think it would be easier to sell a 2-year deal that way. But I'm just kind of, that's my opinion. I'm talking out loud, or thinking out loud here.
Questions? Ron?
So I mean, basically, we don't have that authority, obviously, sitting here tonight. You're talking $12 million. Yeah. Yeah, it's 11.8 million with benefits. So having said that, Kerr, is there any interest in doing anything separately for the para group and the bus driver group, or is SPALC's desire to simply do something across the board?
I don't want to speak for the team, but my philosophy is that we're charged with doing the most good for the most amount of people. And, you know, I'm not just thinking about the paras and the bus operators, but the food service workers, the custodians that are, you know, doing more than one person's job. It's so much larger than, and I know that you weren't boxing it into those two groups, but it's kind of hard for me to answer that question when I'm thinking of so many more job categories.
I understand. And I wasn't trying to pin you down. I'm just throwing that out there.
Okay. We have 4 options. It sounds like we might need to work on.
Did SPALC put up the 10% as an option?
Well, we had 4 already. This is not an option.
Go ahead, you can put that one up as an option, please. I'm sorry, I wasn't clear.
So, Kurt, you want to give her the language for that?
I'll stick with the same language from option 4. 10% increase across the board, added to base salary, effective April 1.
2 years, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Discussions?
We're going to ask for a caucus? Yes. This is how it's going to be tonight, I suspect. So, yeah.
Here you go there.
We can go in there. Yeah.
I'm the weakest link. Actually, have one game. Do you remember the show, The Weakest Link? Such a waste of money. I enjoy it. I love it.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and get a caucus report from Rob before Lucas starts.
Okay, thank you for your patience, and it was like 50 degrees in that room, so we're freezing. So we had a significant discussion about compensation and heard SPALC's option, and we have the 6.2 million, and that's where we're at. But along the lines of and across the board, because I heard from Kerr that kind of is where they're at, we would offer 5%, or make this an option, 5%, which is $5.9 million from July 1st, 2 years, and then the additional $300,000, we don't have a specific plan for that as we sit here, but we would like to use that for longevity and or highest degree in some form. So both of those things or one of those things, but we obviously didn't have enough time to come up with a specific plan for highest degree or longevity. I will say that we have an interest in longevity. It hasn't been mentioned tonight. Because we have seen a trend of losing employees within a certain period of time and the length of time they've been in the district, and we would like to stem the tide of those folks leaving. And we think longevity, recognition of individuals' longevity in the district is important. So that's why we're including that in our option.
So offer 5% across the board, additional 3 million, or 300,000, right? Yeah.
So that would leave 300,000 because the 5% is $5.9 million. And our bargaining authority is 6.2.
Okay. Thank you. July 1st, 2022?
Right.
Okay, any discussion, questions, comments? Kurt?
Can I see the option, please? I think I forgot what my question was. Oh, yes, so the effective date, I just want to make sure I'm understanding this right. The effective date is July 1st means no one would see an increase in this fiscal year, this school year, correct?
That's correct under that option.
Questions, comments?
Thank you.
So just, I guess kind of a question. You guys have heard from everyone here, we're obviously concerned on this. This is an issue. And from the sounds of it, pretty much everyone over there also feels that, the pay is an issue for across the district. So what would it take for all of us to go to the school board and say, can you, the members, and ask, can you get you more bargaining authority?
Great, it's a great question. So let me first sort of explain how that works. Our budget department advises the board. So the board doesn't have independent budget people. So when we go in an executive session, myself, Mr. Rothenberg, Ms. Letcher, Dr. Desimores typically, the board is taking information from us and determining whether or not they want to support that. So they don't have an independent way to understand the things that Ms. Letcher does, or maybe even like Jonathan Tuttle from your group does. So I hear you. Our board has not weighed in and said we object to any of this. They haven't done that. The board is supportive of us, but they're also fiscally responsible for the solvency of this district. So they have a fiduciary duty to the taxpayers of Lee County to make sure that the district can pay its employees, that on payday you get a check. And we're the bargaining team on behalf of the district, so going to them, they're not going to be able to say, oh yeah, we know there's all this extra money, because they don't know that, if there was, and there's not, because if there was, we would be happily rewarding it to you. The thing is, we have also, and I know Kerr said there would be no other increase this year. Well, in December, there was a $1,000 bonus, and there will be another one in 3 weeks for simply working in the district. There's no strings attached to that other than on March 15th, you're working. And there's another one at the end of the school year on June 2nd to be paid at the end of July or middle of July if you don't use more than 5 sick days. So this year, this fiscal year, that's $3,000 in bonuses that will be paid to members of SPALC, or at least those governed by the SPALC contract. So it's not as if the district hasn't provided some compensation during this fiscal year. So I just wanted to correct that, and I used the answer to your question to also answer Kerr.
I feel I have to share this with you, all of you on that side, and I encourage you to go back to the board. I had a young woman come to me who's a paraprofessional, one of the special schools. She's a single mama. She got 2 little girls, one's 6, and one that is in pre-K, she's 4. She now lives with me because they raised her rent $250 a month, and she can't afford to pay it. You're going to have more people in this district leave because they can no longer afford to work here. And truth be known, I may be one of those, and I've been here almost 30 years. If I didn't have a second job, a job that I have to work at least 20 to 25 hours a week, besides the full-time job I have here as a 12-month personnel, I couldn't make it. So I encourage you to go back to the board, do whatever you can do to help us. I don't want to leave here. I want to finish out my career here. I've already put in my time. And there's a lot of people out there that love the job they do, just like me. But they can no longer afford to work here.
I don't have anything to say other than thank you. Thank you. Absolutely.
Kirk.
I know time's running down on us. We have less than 30 minutes left. And we meet again Thursday, correct?
Yes.
So I would like to put up an option number 7, please.
Okay.
And normally we would, with a new option coming up, we need to talk to our team in Caucus. I think that's a futile move, with so little time left, but maybe this can get us through to next time. I'm looking at doing some math on the fly, which is very dangerous for me. And I guess my option would be, I would like to request that the district go, and I don't know how to word this, the district go back to the school board and ask for an increase in bargaining authority. I'm going to say, again, math on the fly is very dangerous for me. If a 5% increase is about 5.9 million, I would like to ask that the district go back to the board and ask for another 5.9 million.
Yeah, I want to put this out there because we had a conversation about across the board raises. And I think it's important to point out, although several positions require significant skills, and that's why they're at the higher end of the market rate or whatever rate they may be on, you are, if you do a 10%, for instance, you are awarding someone that makes $29 an hour, like an HVAC person, a significant raise than the person that makes $11.83 an hour. So I know across the board seems equitable, but truly it's not. And that may seem like the most fair way to do it, but it's certainly not helping us in specific areas where we have significant shortages, which is really relevant right now. So I just want to put that out there because I think it's important for everybody to understand that a significant raise across the board really is not ultimately equitable. One more thing, we had a conversation about possibly for Thursday coming up with a couple of other options. And we're going to do that, but we didn't have the time tonight, obviously, to do them. But I'm encouraged by our conversation tonight, not discouraged. I hear you, Patty. I hear all of you. It's difficult to be on this side of the table, to be perfectly honest with you, in times like this. So we're trying our best. And your encouragement to go to the board, I've heard you, and we've all heard you. So, but I know we have another session on Thursday night.
We do have about 25 more minutes. Oh, sorry. Oh, Bob. Here.
So just for the story, I just want to reiterate what Rob said. We did have a very good caucus, and I think we will hopefully have some additional information to share on Thursday that will be interesting to everyone. But for the story, I want to just put out there that echo what Rob just said about the school board and being fiscally responsible. And also kind of share with you the little slice that I'm really familiar with, which is insurance.
I know the cost of gas was brought up. We've got 1,000 buses that drive a whole bunch of miles, and the district is also having to deal with the increase in the cost of fuel in terms of a budget for the district. I just met with our broker for our, what I call district insurance, which is the insurance nobody knows about. Everybody knows about medical, dental, vision. Nobody knows about property, casualty, flood, fuel tank, cyber, which is what I call district insurance. You guys are probably all familiar with the natural disasters, the fires, the floods, all that good stuff that's been happening all around our country. Our property and casualty insurance is looking at a 20% increase this year that will have to be paid by the district in order to purchase the same property and casualty insurance. When I say same, we're certainly shopping it, but the same level of coverage that the district currently enjoys. So I do think part of the story is that the price increases are absolutely hitting employees, and like Rob said, we do hear that. But I think some of the caution that you hear around, we have to be fiscally responsible, and we have to make sure that we can pay the bills of the district, which of course includes payroll, but it also includes things like diesel for buses and insurance to insure district buildings in the event there's a hurricane or a flood or a fire, as well as other insurances like the catastrophic student injury, which is required by FHSAA. If we don't have that insurance, we can't have sports. Cyber insurance to protect all of our personal information. I'm sure if you're listening to the news, you're hearing about the increase in cyber attacks. So I just felt like I needed to provide that context about some of the other things, like I said, that I call it the insurance nobody knows anything about, but some of the other expenses that the district and the board are trying to also deal with at the same time trying to increase wages for employees to keep the people we have and to hopefully recruit new people. So thanks for listening. Questions or comments? We do have 7 options. We have about 20 minutes. Do we have any desire to?
Amy, can I have a 5-minute in the hall caucus?
Of course.
Kurt, you guys have a short caucus report, or?
The caucus report will be longer than the caucus. No, there were a couple fundamental questions about the options that we discussed, so I wanted to answer those before we move on. I think we're about ready to wrap up, but does anybody else on our side have? Penny?
Before Penny, I wanted to apologize. I called her Patty. Penny, I am so sorry. I've known you for years.
I would like to have us test option 7, please.
Call for testing option 7, which is a request that the district go back to the board for an increase in bargaining authority and ask for another 5.9 million.
If I could just speak to that.
Okay.
I don't think their bargaining team, just like I can't sit here and say they need to go back to their e-board or whomever they talk to. I just don't think that's an appropriate option. So, I mean, if there's such a thing as refraining from voting, we're not going to vote on that.
It's very interesting.
I have no formal training in this position.
Well, we're not going to agree to test it, so.
Okay. I do not know what happens when a side does not agree to test. That's never happened. And I do not know. So do we want to table till Thursday and get some answers on some of this, or? Is that okay with you all?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we sort of had a tacit agreement that we would.
I don't even have my hand, so. Oh.
Sorry, it's me. Can it please be noted that we're not voting on it at this time?
Okay.
Fine. Yeah, I think, I'm just going to say it, and I'm trying to look at Kerr, but I think there has to be some level of trust between the teams here. We did go back after the first time. We offered a 2.5% increase, and that obviously was not something SPALC was interested in, and we did go back. So we have to talk as a team, just like you all do, to decide what our next steps are, and are aware of what your options are, and you're aware of ours, and we have a couple of days now to sort of do some work on this stuff and come back. So I don't want to really go any further than that at this point. Yeah.
Kurt. We have somebody who wants to comment real quickly.
So we started off in November 2.5%, and that was for 1 year. And your last option was 5% for 2 years. Basic division says we're right back at where we started.
Alex, question? So we will table the rest of this till Thursday. We have 15 minutes left, so we have a desire to go to 7 o'clock or to be done now. Be done now?
Yes.
All right. Well, good evening.